At 14, Pim de Wieter was running millions through a RuneScape server in his Dutch bedroom. Proof he understood how gamers thought, before most adults even knew their names. Years later, he would build the platform OpenAI tried to buy for $500 million, holding an asset so explosive it could rewrite the future of intelligence itself. But why did he say no? And what did he see in a mountain of gaming clips that Silicon Valley missed? The answer starts in that bedroom, where code and ambition collided. At 14 years old, hunched over a second-hand laptop, Pim de Wieter typed out his first lines of Java while the rest of his family slept. The glow from his monitor spilled over a desk cluttered with empty cans and scribbled notes. Each line of code a step closer to something bigger than a school project. He wasn't just learning syntax, he was building a world. The idea was simple: create a RuneScape server that felt more alive, more chaotic, more rewarding than the original. He called it SoulSplit. The name spread through online forums like wildfire. Within weeks, strangers from across the globe were logging in, testing the limits of what Pim's bedroom setup could handle. Every new user meant another late-night wrestling with server crashes and mysterious bugs. When the server went down, Pim scrambled to patch code and reboot before anyone noticed. He learned to juggle chat room complaints, update logs, and payment notifications, all before sunrise. The numbers on his dashboard climbed into the thousands, then into millions. He watched as his homemade world filled with digital life, each player a data point, each glitch an urgent lesson. No one taught him how to scale a community or keep the peace when tempers flared. He figured it out by necessity, inventing solutions on the fly. Every challenge forced him to adapt, to think like both a coder and a leader. In that cramped Dutch bedroom, Pim discovered that raw curiosity and stubbornness could turn lines of code into an empire. The server ran day and night, proof that a teenager with a laptop could capture the imagination and the loyalty of millions. SoulSplit's success brought a new kind of pressure. Pim was not just running a game, he was running a business that never slept. At any hour, tens of thousands of players could log in, each expecting smooth gameplay and instant support. The server's popularity meant a single bug could spark chaos, and downtime became the enemy. Pim learned to spot warning signs in error logs before disaster struck. He rebuilt code bases in the dead of night and upgraded hardware with money earned from digital item sales, money that dwarfed his teachers' salaries before he had even finished high school. But scaling was not only about servers. Moderation became a daily firefight. With chat rooms packed and tempers flaring, Pim had to write custom tools just to keep the peace. He banned cheaters, settled disputes, and fielded angry emails from parents, all while squeezing in homework between server restarts. Payment processors flagged transactions, sometimes freezing funds without warning. Each crisis forced Pim to become a negotiator, a systems architect, and a customer support representative rolled into one. Every new challenge left scars and skills. He learned to automate what he could and delegate what he could not. The rush of seeing player counts spike after an update came with the dread of what might break next. By the time most kids his age were saving for a bike, Pim was handling revenue streams and community blow-ups that would rattle seasoned founders. The lesson stuck. If you want to build something that lasts, you have to outthink both the machines and the mob. That instinct for reading the crowd and reacting fast would become his edge in the years ahead. In the late 2000 teens, something subtle started happening in gaming communities. Forums filled with short, punchy videos, headshots, wild glitches, last-second wins, each one clipped from a much longer session. The old model of sitting through hours of live streams was losing its grip. Gamers did not want to be spectators for an entire match. They wanted to relive the moment that made their heart race. The thrill was not in the marathon, but in the highlight. Pim de Wit picked up on this before most. While others were still building tools for endless recording and streaming, he noticed players hunting for a way to grab just the best bits. It was not about showing off a perfect game. It was about sharing that one impossible trick shot, that hilarious fail, that instant when everything clicked. The community's appetite was changing. Social feeds filled with bite-sized clips, easy to watch and easier to share. Memes and moments spread faster than any full-length video ever could. This was not just a shift in content. It was a shift in how gamers saw themselves. As creators, not just consumers, every player could be a storyteller, armed with a single button. The tools on the market lagged behind. Clipping software was clunky, uploads were slow, and most platforms buried the best moments under layers of menus. Pim understood that the friction was killing the magic. If capturing a highlight took more than a second, the moment was gone. He started sketching what a new platform might look like, one built for speed, simplicity, and the viral nature of gaming culture. The insight was clear. Gamers wanted to capture lightning, not record the whole storm. The industry had not caught up yet, but the demand was everywhere. Every shared clip was a signal. Pim listened, watched, and began to map out a solution that would let millions of players turn their best moments into something everyone could experience. The stage was set for an idea that would outgrow even his own expectations. Clip by clip, Medal's archive took on a life of its own. Each second, another highlight landed, an impossible snipe in Fortnite, a wild car flip in Rocket League, a last man standing win in Warzone. The uploads never stopped. By the time most people finished their morning coffee, tens of thousands of new moments had already hit the servers. The scale was relentless. Gamers from every corner of the world poured in, uploading victories, defeats, glitches, and inside jokes. It did not matter if you played on a high-end PC in Seoul or a hand-me-down Xbox in Ohio. Medal became the universal Dropbox for bragging rights. The numbers ballooned faster than anyone predicted. What started as a handful of daily uploads soon exploded into millions. Every major title had its own ecosystem. Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty, Valorant, each feeding Medal's ever-growing collection. On weekends, traffic spiked so hard that engineers scrambled to keep the system from buckling. Storage upgrades became a monthly ritual. Pim led from the front, fielding Slack alerts at 3 a.m, pushing hotfixes, and racing to stay ahead of the tidal wave. But this was not just raw video. Every clip arrived stamped with game metadata, the title, map, timestamp, and sometimes even the player's actions. Over time, the dataset became a living record of how millions of people navigated digital worlds. Patterns started to emerge, how players learned new maps, how strategies evolved, how groups coordinated without a word. Medal was not just building a library, it was capturing the pulse of gaming culture in real time. The archive's true size defied easy comparison. Billions of clips meant billions of decisions, reactions, and strategies, each a tiny window into human intuition under pressure. No other platform came close. While competitors focused on the next viral meme or influencer partnership, Pim's team quietly scaled up the backbone. They automated moderation, optimized compression, and kept the upload pipeline frictionless. The result was a data engine running at speeds no one else could match. A silent machine, hungry for moments, always growing, never full. The world of artificial intelligence hit a wall with language models. Text and images could only take machines so far. In 2024, the real breakthrough came from a new direction, teaching AI to understand space, movement, and cause and effect the way people do. That required a different kind of data, not just words or still pictures, but billions of moments where humans made decisions inside complex, three-dimensional worlds. The archive of Medal.tv, with nearly 2 billion gaming clips, became the most sought-after resource in this new race. Each clip in the Medal Vault is more than a highlight reel. Every upload arrives with a dense layer of metadata, including the game, the map, the exact timestamp, and sometimes even the player's position and control inputs at every moment. Over time, this built a record of how real people navigate digital landscapes, where they jump, when they hesitate, how they coordinate with teammates, and how they react to threats. The data is not just visual, it is a living log of intent, adaptation, and strategy, mapped out across every major title from Fortnite to Roblox to Call of Duty. For world model researchers, this kind of dataset is gold. Training an AI to drive a robot, play a sport, or solve puzzles in the real world means teaching it to predict what will happen next in a dynamic, messy environment. Real-world video cannot offer the same precision. Only in games do you get both the footage and the internal map, player coordinates, object locations, collision events, and the sequence of every button press. With Medal.tv data, researchers can set up learning tasks like this. Given this position and input, where will the player be in 1 second? Or how do teams adjust their plans when the environment changes? A leading world model scientist said most datasets show what happened. Medal shows why it happened. The difference is massive. Billions of annotated decisions spread across every kind of scenario give AI a chance to learn, not just to imitate, but to understand. That is why, when the AI arms race turned to spatial intelligence, every major lab suddenly wanted what Medal had been quietly building for years. The archive was not just content anymore. It was the blueprint for the next generation of intelligent machines. Phones do not usually ring with $500 million on the line. But in late 2024, Pim DeWitte's phone did. The call came from a number he recognized, an intermediary representing one of Silicon Valley's most powerful labs. The message was clear. OpenAI wanted Medal's dataset, and they were willing to pay $500 million for it. Not for the company's social network or branding, but for the billions of moments, every decision, every movement, every pixel of spatial data that gamers had uploaded over years. The offer was not a rumor. Multiple reports pinned the figure at $500 million, all tracing back to insiders and industry chatter. Sam Altman's name floated through the conversation, a reminder of just how high up this went. OpenAI, fresh off breakthroughs with Sora and hungry for the next leap in robotics, saw Medal's archive as the missing piece. Proprietary, structured, and impossible to replicate, it was the secret ingredient for building machines that could actually understand the physical world. For most founders, this is the moment you cash out. Generational wealth, instant validation, a permanent seat at the table. But Pim stood in his apartment, phone pressed to his ear, the number echoing in his mind. $500 million. He knew what was at stake. The easy exit, the chance to walk away forever. And yet, as the words hung in the air, he realized he was not ready to let go. The decision that followed would send shockwaves through the industry. Pim de Witte didn't just walk away from the table. He built a new one. Days after rejecting the acquisition, he spun up a war room, gathering engineers and advisors who saw the same horizon. The plan was bold. He would launch an independent AI lab with Medal's gaming data at its core. The goal was not to supply the giants, it was to outpace them. He called it General Intuition. Within months, the company closed $133.7 million in a seed round led by Vinod Khosla, the same investor whose early bet helped launch OpenAI itself. Khosla's check was his largest since that historic gamble, a sign he saw something different in Pim's approach. The mission was clear and public. Use the world's biggest archive of spatial gaming data to teach machines not just to see, but to understand. General Intuition would focus on embodied agents, AI systems that learn physics, causality, and real-world reasoning from the billions of decisions captured in Medal's clips. Instead of selling the fuel, Pim was building the engine. The lab's doors opened with a simple promise. The future of intelligence would be built by those who understood how humans play, adapt, and win, not by those who simply bought the data. Investors, founders, and rivals watched as General Intuition set out to prove that the next leap in artificial intelligence would not come from language, but from action. Not everyone in the AI world is convinced that gaming clips are the golden ticket to building smarter machines. A robotics researcher, arms crossed in a cluttered lab, points out the messiness behind the headline. Medal.tv's dataset, for all its scale, sits on shaky ground when it comes to creator consent. Most gamers uploaded clips to share a laugh or to brag about a win, not to train algorithms that might one day control robots or power next-generation surveillance. Legal teams at big publishers, including Epic and Activision, have yet to publicly bless the idea that their game footage can fuel artificial intelligence. The fine print in terms of service is a maze, and no one has tested it in court. Then there is the technical side. Training AI on virtual worlds sounds promising, but every simulation has its limits. Game physics are tuned for fun, not for perfect realism. A bot that learns to dodge rockets in Fortnite might flinch at a falling lamp in a real apartment. The so-called sim to real gap looms large. What works in a game does not always translate to the unpredictability of the physical world. Even the best models can stumble when faced with friction, lighting, or the chaos of actual human movement. For every bold claim about Medal.tv's data, skeptics keep a running list of what remains unproven: licensing, transferability, and the simple question of whether gamers ever truly agreed to be part of the AI arms race. Today, AI giants still scramble for the world's best data, but the future isn't just auctioned to the highest bidder. Medal.tv's untapped trove reminds us the next leap in intelligence could come from those bold enough to say no. In this race, conviction, not capital, might be the rarest asset. What would you have done? Let's talk in the comments.